Hello. I'm doing something kind of fun. A Mexican lager versus what you might call a Euro pale lager. And I just got two 12 packs of these. Been drinking them and found they're very, very, very different. What's nice about Peroni is that it tells you all the ingredients right on there: water, barley malt, corn syrup, Italian maize, Italian corn they use, I guess, hops, and hop extract. And now Peroni is actually made in St. Louis. But I don't know, I thought it was pretty darn good. And the Dos Equis, I don't really tell you. They say it's a lager. Dos Equis lager is an authentic Mexican cerveza brewed in the style of Pilsner lagers. Sounds kind of weird to me. This is only 4.2, whereas Peroni is 5. I think the Italian brewed stuff was 5.1. But, or wait, no, this is brewed in Milwaukee, not St. Louis. So, when I looked up Dos Equis ingredients, I found that nothing said that they used hop extract, which I was surprised about. Maybe they actually do still. And these corn syrup. And then they use citric acid as like a preservative. Citric acid is, or no, not citric acid, ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid is basically vitamin C. I wonder if it affects the flavor, because I noticed this flavor is very candy-like and fruity. But let's get to it. I'll get to the Dos Equis first. I didn't even care about doing a blind tasting because they're very obviously different. So yeah, 4.2, which is pretty low. I think Corona's 4.5. And they do give you the the carbohydrates and the calories. 131 calories, 11 carbohydrates, and it had fizzing away pretty fast like cola. And it's pretty pale. There's a little bit of color to it, and it smells. Yeah, I mean, like sweet corn, and a little bit of like a candy thing, for sure. And I wonder if that's from the citric acid, or it's the ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid is added to fruit juices to amp up the vitamin C. Like if you look at any orange juice, most orange juices and things, the last ingredient is ascorbic acid. And I assume it added something, like whenever you have a vitamin that's like vitamin C, it has a flavor to it, a bright sort of flavor to it. And is this different from Mexican lagers? It seems like they all have a similar thing. They're pretty low in hop bitterness. They're a little bit sweet. They're not as sort of musky and malty, maybe, as a full strength American adjunct lager. Some places call this an American adjunct lager, like the Budweisers and the Millers and the Miller Lights and all that. I had a Michelob Ultra yesterday, and it was not good. Like, this has way more better flavor, I think. And I thought at first that maybe it had some sort of hoppiness, but it might be that ascorbic acid that's adding this sort of interesting flavor. It's got some body to it. But at 11 grams of carbs, 131 calories, and 4.2% alcohol, pretty close to being a light beer. But definitely a lot more flavor than Michelob Ultra, even like Miller Lite. Maybe it's comparable to Bud Light. Bud Light is a little bit fruity, but I'm pretty sure they don't add preservatives to Bud Light. And I don't know, like the best by date on this is January. So it could be that this is brewed last January, so it's like, half a year old or something like that. But maybe being preserved well. It's not skunky, but this is in a closed box in a fridge, so maybe it avoided sunlight the whole time. Maybe they use a hop extract that avoids that. That's why Miller High Life comes in a clear bottle. Maybe they just use so little hops it doesn't do anything. All right, now on to Peroni. Yeah, that's pretty sweet, but I think it's pretty chuggable, honestly. Tastes like Kicks, like berry Kicks or something. Yeah, very low in bitterness, but clean. Finishes clean. Doesn't have the weird thing I get from a lot of cheap American lagers. Like even Narragansett I was having, I was like, didn't really like it. All right, so Peroni. This stuff I think is pretty fresh. And that's one thing because it's made in Milwaukee. I think it's owned by Asahi, and they moved American production to, or they started production for the American one, the American market in Milwaukee. They probably pay Miller to brew this for them, but to certain specifications, they give them this Italian corn, which is kind of funny. So there you go. Is there any color difference? This head's kind of fizzing out pretty quickly too. I guess I should pour more in this. Easier to compare. These are both the little tiny Tiku glasses. And are they any different? Maybe the Peroni is just a little bit more of a rich color, just a little bit closer to caramel. And they're both filtered, I'm sure. And this Peroni, yeah, seems a little bit clearer, maybe because it's fresher. The Best By date on this is April of next year. So this, if it's a 1 year Best By date, then that means this is about 4 months old. And the smell, right off the bat, I get way more hops and real barley malt, even though they do say corn syrup and Italian maize on there. Corn syrup first. It's not nearly as corny and sweet as the Dos Equis. And definitely a much bigger noble hop character. More body. So it's 0.8% stronger, and it has 15 more calories, so just a little bit bigger, but way stronger in flavor. I don't know if I'm noticing a booziness to it. I think it's just that it's got a good amount of hop character. Almost a whisper of a skunkiness going on, even though seems pretty fresh and it was in an enclosed box, but just a green bottle and being this hoppy, just like a teeny bit of sun in there for a second can create a little skunkiness, which I don't mind a little bit of. And it seems like once you pour it into a glass or after a while in the bottle, it fades away. Yeah, it's not too big on black peppery notes, but definitely they use a good amount of Pilsner-like hop. Like this is way closer to a Pilsner than this. This is nothing. This is much closer to Bud Light probably than Peroni. I think the Peroni's probably got more hop character than Stella or Heineken. Those are the other big two Euro Pale lagers. Harp and Carlsberg might be in the same category. But I think I like this one more. I was getting into Stella. I like the mouthfeel of Stella. And they started brewing Stella in St. Louis. Stella is owned by AB InBev. And another case where, then we're getting it way fresher, so there's some hop character. The old imported Stellas we would get, I thought tasted like apple juice. And this one is, I think, got way more hop character than Stella. It's got more body than Dos Equis. Yeah, going from this to that, it tastes like Smarties. I swear. Just really like a generic fruity candy sort of thing. But not even like really fruitless, like, Smarties cotton candy. What is the flavor of that? Just generic candy sweet. It's kind of wild. When you go back to this and it really tastes like beer. And it's very clean. Just a little bit of a corny huskiness. And yeah, I think there's definitely more color to this one. I got a little bit more body. Kind of a fizzy carb too, though. But you do notice herbal notes from the hops. They probably use Zotz hops in here, the traditional Pilsner hop. Maybe another one too. Now it's getting a little bit more spicy, a little bit more of a kind of a black peppery note the more I drink it. I guess let's just get fresh pours of both of these. See few ones. Yeah, definitely the head retention is a little better in the Peroni because of the more hop character. Their carb seems very similar. And this just has a little bit of a nicer color. Like it's more golden. Has something, I don't know. It's more dull. It's very similar in terms of how pale. This one's a little bit more pale. But it could be that there's a little age on this one. Who knows if the ascorbic acid does something weird. But this video is getting a little too long. Yeah. I mean, this one I would say is better, but if you want something that is just a little sweet but dry and crushable, go for the Dos Equis. This is a good alternative to I guess Miller Lite, Bud Light, stuff like that. And it's weird. The ascorbic acid must be adding, yeah, and it reminds me of vitamins. I'm sure that's adding this flavor to it, which is kind of weird that you wouldn't know unless you kind of dig around on the internet. And I don't hate that flavor, but it's not a beer flavor. Vitamin C is not in beer unless you add fruit to it. Excuse me. And they're both well carbonated. Mm-hmm. Yep. Peroni, I think if you like Pilsners, and you find a fresh Peroni, something that the best by date is like within 6 months or so, then it's not no more than 6 months old. This is really worth it. I guess try to get an enclosed box, or there are cans now. Get the cans, unless you like some skunkiness. But yeah, this is like a 4 beer. Super clean. Yeah, and this is just kind of a bizarre. I guess I should get some Corona. Maybe we'll do a side by side of Mexican lagers because this is so weird, but I kind of like it. Hard to rate though, but it's probably 3.5. Bye.